Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome. It's a Friday. Glad to be back with you. How you doing out there? Hope you're living just fine and making all the good moves and decisions, continuing to be impressed with your ability to try again as we circle the wagon on our lessons. I've been having some of that this week. Definitely some challenges and similar things that have happened to me in the past, but handling them way differently. And man, it feels good. It feels really good to see yourself make progress on the really sticky points in your own, expansion and growth and journey. And yeah, so we're going to get into some of that. I'm actually going to share a little bit of that story, but I want to start off before I jump straight to that, talking about a quote that I heard a while ago. I believe it was Robert Grant that I originally heard with this concept, and then saw a clip more recently where he said it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'd heard this before. I forgot, and I think it was him that I heard it the first time a year or two ago when he's on the show as a guest. And it's such a powerful perspective. And it's such a powerful perspective to just keep in your pocket, like everything that you're ever attracting into your world that you don't prefer or that you've judged. What he said is you attract what you judge until you no longer judge what you attract. Right? You attract what you judge until you no longer judge what you attract. And that is such a powerful realization, right? Something you don't like, and there it is again. Well, why am I seeing it again? Because you are attracting that which you judge. And when you step into the ultimate expanded version of yourself, which is the inevitable, we are merging with the one. We are becoming more of our higher self, right? I've actually been reading some of Paul Selig's forthcoming book called Innocence, and he's been on the show before. And he's a channel. If you guys haven't ever heard any of those episodes, he's incredible channel, and it's a lot. His books in general and his channelings and his teachings that come through him are a lot about this journey of stepping into the higher room, giving up the individual self. We have to, our offering to become our expanded self is the individualized, individuated ego self that we identify with as this character and this person. And ultimately what he talks about is like that smaller self is incorporated in the bigger self. So it's not actually lost, but you have to give up that separate identity. And when you start looking at everything as a part of you, right? Well, you're not judging it anymore. You're not needing, it is you. Like, okay, this is information, right? This is showing me something. This is pointing me to something. And if it's structured in a way where you're going to judge, you're going to attract what you judge, so that you can have the the opportunity, step into the power of no longer being triggered and needing to make it wrong and make something else right. And, let's face it, this whole world, this planet, we are surrounded by judges. You can't walk through you know, a grocery store without someone judging the way you look. You have someone who's judging your size, your weight, your color, your accent, what your family thinks you should do this, you should do. It's just like everyone is judging. It's like a part of physical reality. And the more we can put down the need to identify, label, box, and make wrong or right, and just allow life to be as it is. And you're not more right than the guy that you would typically, maybe a former version of yourself would be like, oh my God, what an idiot. Look at the way he's dressed. Look at the way he's talking. Look at what he's acting. Look at the awful thing he's doing. Look what he did to his mother, his father. He stole something, whatever it is. We're actually no better than that part of the one, the all, the creation. And if you don't prefer a part of the one, the all, the creation, okay, well, guess what? Stop judging it, because you're attracting what you judge until you no longer judge what you attract. And this is a part of how, stepping into the offering of maybe sacrificing is the wrong word, but like the offering of your individualized self, and just becoming, like Eckhart Tolle says, can I be the space for this? And really, the only place, what we want to be more than anything, we want to be free, right? And the only place where freedom truly resides is in unconditional love, right? What has no conditions but one condition? Unconditional love. It is the only condition is that you're unconditional. And this is where you get to be free. If you can, can I be the space for this? Can I bring curiosity? Curiosity is love. It's showing that instead of judgment, wow, that's way different than me. I wonder why he's doing that awful thing. I wonder, maybe he has some trauma in his past. Oh man, he must be hurt people. So, wow, I wonder where he got the influence to wear that weird hairdo or whatever it is. Like, oh, it's curious. It's wow. And I appreciate the contrast, because if everyone looked and sounded exactly like me, the world sure would be a boring place. And the fact that there's so much variation out there allows me to have the experience, the gift of feeling individually unique in some way, right? Because that's the sort of, there's so much dichotomy in everything about reality. You and I are separate. You and I are one. Both are true. They're relative truths, depending on the vantage point from which you're speaking. So it's like you are one. It's all you, and yet you're a unique emanation that's only one of a kind of source. The universe, higher self, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, God. So bringing unconditional love is, if you want to be free, tap into non-judgment and unconditional love. And that is going to bring you the peace that you truly, truly seek, that we all truly seek. And the great bonus there is you no longer have to attract the TV show you don't want to watch, right? Because you're not judging it. You don't have an energetic charge with that thing. Yeah. So I have actually a clip here. It's only about 5 minutes or so of Abraham talking about this really powerful, potent clip talking about judgment. Take a listen.
So as we said to someone earlier, our best work is to soothe your resistance. So we start to soothe your resistance by telling you the unequivocal, undeniable law that never gets squirrely on you. Now, if you want to give us some details, we'll help you soothe your resistance.
Specifically, the feedback on me at work was negative relative to my perception of how I was performing. And so now, as I went through a year of work and enjoyed and had passion and love and desire for the things I was doing and saved the company $20 million, at the end of the year, I hear negative feedback to how I perform.
All right, so consider this. You can only get negative feedback from people outside the vortex.
I agree.
So why would you care what someone out of the vortex says to you when it's 100% probability of it being negative? So where do we suggest you get your feedback from? Source. And what do you think Source is saying about that? We really want to jump in here so that you get it. You care what they think.
I agree.
That's like asking someone who doesn't have any money to give you a loan.
And the degree to my discomfort is inevitable, or is seen with the degree at which my rating was to my perception.
That's all flawed. This is what it is.
Okay.
This is the reason you feel so bad. It hasn't got anything to do with them. It's that you have expectations of yourself that when you give attention to their negative rating takes you apart from who you are. It's not their statistics that are messing you up. It's your own. In other words, this will feel a little off the subject, but it really isn't. It's right on. Someone will say, this rascal, often it's a lover or an employer, this person has made me so frustrated and angry, and in the process, I have asked for this, and asked for this, and asked for this. So that person is responsible for enormous expansion. My vortex is spinning faster, and my inner being is standing taller because of that rascally rascal. So that person is the reason that I expanded. And that person is also the reason that I don't take my expansion, because I'm looking and listening to what that person says.
Correct.
So we think you had a good idea in the beginning not to give a rip what that person thinks. But that's not going far enough. You have to thank them and their trouble for the expansion that they affected in you. You see, you're not upset because their rating of you isn't pleasing them. You're upset because your attention to their negativity is not who you are. Can you feel that?
Yes.
And you said some words that were very telling in that, because you kept saying, my perception and their perception. Their perception of me doesn't measure up to my perception of me. And we say, no, that's not what it is. Your perception of you isn't matching up to your perception of you. They are irrelevant. They were only fodder for your expansion.
Thank you.
Because it's so interesting. That's like having a really contrasting person really make you expand and then feel bad that they're not at the vortex party. They can't come to the vortex party. They were the trouble that made you expand, you see. And you're needing them to come and celebrate with you your success is off base, because that's not where they're vibrating right now. And you have to let that be all right and love them for the important part they did play in your expansion.
I love the vortex. It feels so good to be there.
You know what the best part of the vortex is?
Tell me.
The best part of the vortex is going in. Because after you're in there a while, you get bored. Really, the best part of the vortex is going in, which makes those troublemakers really important to your exhilarating life, because they make trouble and out you go, and then you make your way back in, and whoo, how good it feels. And you get to go to a new place because they prodded you into expansion. So what you really want to do is thank all of them. Write letters to all of them. You especially were the most troubling one of all. And therefore, I credit you with the majority of my expansion in the year 2009. And I'm so looking forward to completely ignoring your opinion of me in the year 2010 in order to reap the benefit of all that you helped me to achieve in 2009.
I love it. I love it. Remind me for just 2 seconds again how to just continue to maintain and stay in that vortex and never come out.
Well,
Never come out. I never want to come out.
You miss the point. If we say to you, the best part is going back in, if you never come out, you're going to miss the best part.
Thank you very much.
Because step one is the contrast that causes the expansion, you see. So you just got to love it all. Good time for a segment of lunch.
Before we continue on with today's episode, for those of you interested in getting more fantastic fungi in your life, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about a friend of mine's brand new company, The Great Mother. Recently, I have been drinking The Great Mother's superfood mushroom coffee alternative called Ritual, as well as regularly taking their awesome Ally microdoses, and I am truly loving both. As you probably know, these days, many of the world's highest achievers and performers swear by microdosing. The problem is it can still be difficult to get a hold of magic mushrooms. That's why when my friend reached out, who lives in an area and country where legalization is not a problem like it was in the past, and said he'd be willing to offer microdoses to my listeners, I wanted to pass the word along. Ally microdoses are 100% organic. And in addition to a small amount of the magic active ingredient, they also contain functional mushrooms like lion's mane, cordyceps, chaga, and other brain boosters like bacopa. Ally is essentially a full spectrum nootropic. And of course, the coffee alternative Ritual doesn't contain magic mushrooms, but it has an array of the best organic functional mushrooms in the world. And, with functional mushrooms, it's really important to get them from the highest integrity sources. And whereas some other highly popular mushroom coffee alternatives on the market only contain a few varieties of functional mushrooms in their actual ingredients, Ritual has 7. Not only does it contain more types, it also contains 3 to 4 times the amount that the big brands have in each serving. And it tastes amazing. I actually like to have it on its own, as well as mixing it into my coffee sometimes as well. However, since this is definitely a unique offering, there are a few steps. First, just reach out and request to follow the private page, thegreat.mother on Instagram. Once you've been accepted to follow, just message what you're interested in getting and someone will get back to you. Isn't that interesting? What I thought. You can only get negative feedback from someone outside the vortex. And what is the vortex? For those who haven't heard Abraham before, perhaps that eye of the storm, you tapped into your higher self, the way your expanded self, your higher self, sees things as all divine and perfect. The unmoved mover, right? That is within your soul, that the part of source that was there, just observing with no judgment when you were 5 days old, 5 years old, 55 years old, 95 years old. It's always there. And that is your greater self, your higher self, your expanded self. And it lives in the vortex. If someone is giving you negative feedback, they're not tapped into their higher self. They're outside the vortex. So why would you care what someone who thinks, it's like asking someone, like she said here, it's like asking a poor person for a loan. It's asking, hey, I really care about your opinion in regards to whether or not I should visit Fiji, but you've never been to Fiji and you know nothing about it. And you're going to tell me all about it. And with all kinds of judgments. I mean, how often do people do that in our society? It's crazy. The strong judgments with it's like you want to turn to them and say, what qualifies you to make that statement? Think of how many unqualified statements are made around things. And someone giving negative feedback, resonating with negative vibrations, is outside of the vortex. Therefore, they're not qualified to really have a meaningful feedback for you, because your aim is to get the highest information, the most divine, powerful information you can, and integrate that. You want to, what is source saying about it? What is the expanded version of us saying about it? And of course, as she talked about, it's your own expectations and subscribing to their rating and judgment that is keeping you stuck and keeping you hurt and disconnected. However, it's still a benefit, like everything. The universe makes everything work for you. And as she said, because of them, your vortex is expanding, and simultaneously, you're not actually taking it and cashing the expansion in, right? It's like you're writing the check of what you want, but then you don't cash it because you're actually listening to them, and really their trouble is a gift. But don't get caught up on their trouble. Use it as an opportunity. I love how she said, you're not upset because of their opinion. You're upset because your attention to their negativity is not who you are. They are irrelevant fodder for your expansion. As she said, they're not going to be at the Vortex party. That's not the character they're playing in your movie. Appreciate them for the part they played. Everyone is prodding you, and everything is leading you to your expansion. And, I really appreciated how she talked about the best part of the vortex is going in. And guess what? To go in, you got to be out of it. That contrast, right? So you got to learn to love it all. And that's why you came out of the vortex to begin with, from your place in eternity of complete power and peace, was for that very reason. So don't hate it when you're out of it. Don't judge yourself, whatever you do. Judging ourselves is one of the most, trip up things we can do. And yeah, like I said, I mean, I've had some of this week as an example. I'll share, dealing with something with my company Hello Vacay, and a vendor who, we've had a lot of sort of back and forth with this week that was very challenging, and them doing something that was really unprofessional and just like kind of low level behavior and unappreciated. And the old me would have been so triggered and told them off and gotten so heated and fiery. And literally all I could think the whole time dealing with this person, and as I was like the point person going back and forth with them a bunch, is, wow, thank you for the opportunity for me. I could see myself, my old self, in their behavior too, by the way, their way of interacting and navigating and just not being as transparent, as authentic, agitation, playing games, all that BS. And I'm just like, oh, I'm not being triggered at all by this. And the former versions of myself were like, the injustice, how dare you? This is what, let me tell you why I'm so right and you're so wrong. It's like with that bit of entitlement and anger. And it just wasn't there. It just hadn't been there. And it's just like, oh, thank you for giving me the opportunity to just take the highest road and not get triggered out of the vortex. And what a gift, right? So yeah, grateful for all of it. I hope you are too. I have a great song to leave you with today. This is Nectar Drop by DJ Drez. It's a good one. Hope you enjoy. Till next time, journey well.